So here I am in Edinburgh, slightly discombobulated. So I got up at 10 to 4 yesterday morning, just having a walk, and I think this is kind of a compulsory thing now. Or if not a compulsory thing, something a lot of people do is to do a fringe diary. Long rambling video. In this case on my way to get some coffee. And so I've got two things to do today before my show. One is to put together a flyer and send it off to the printers. I know, it's ridiculously late. There's some really loud lorries here in Edinburgh. The other thing it looks like is to edit the coughs out of this video. So yes, two things to do today. One is, this is as well as work the whole day. One is to write a series of cards that I'm going to use in the show as prompts for things I'm going to talk about. I don't think I'm going to take them in particular order. I've got prompts about things I want to talk about, activities, which are the 4 activities that I'm going to talk about, and then also some heckles, which I've tried before and goes down really well. And so one of the things that I've tried to make all of the things in the show begin with an S, and one of the things that begins with an S that I talk about in the show is subconscious. And so I'm sure other people have written about this, and I haven't done enough research to find out about it yet. But I think one of the things that writing is it's playing a game with your subconscious. Write in and tell me if there's a difference between subconscious and unconscious. But yeah, so like subconsciously there's something that you want to do, there's something that you want to say, and but you don't seem to be managing to say it. And writing is it coming out? I think it's one of the big blue stars. I'm not sure who, maybe Muddy Waters, I want to say Muddy Waters, but having done some research for a book, I know that very often whoever you think said a quote isn't the person who actually said that quote. Here's the quote anyway: if it's in you, it's going to come out. And one of the things I thought for years and years was, well, it hasn't come out, so it isn't in me. And then I think like a bunch of stars aligned to allow me to get out my book. One of those was that I found somebody to read bits of it, which I think is an enormous part of it. I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and somebody was talking about an idea from Brian Eno, who I have a lot of time for. And he was talking about, as opposed to genius, Scenius, which is being involved in it's very, very, very 60s word, a whole scene. And I think like kind of I was lucky enough to have a little bit of that, which makes me think that there's another S that I can write on a card, which is some, for, I know it's cheating a bit, but now I'm going to have to remember her name. It'll come to me in a minute. The woman who wrote The Lighthouse, Virginia Woolf. So what she talks about is some money in a room of one's own. So she's talking about Scenius. She's talking about you need some opportunity. If you're really busy raising 15 kids, then you're going to struggle to write. It's true. And the Scenius that happened for me was that my friend Andrew Brown, who also has a book, Taming Your Dragon, I think it's called. It's important to remember the title of your friend's books. So basically he said, you know, if I read chapters of your book, will you read chapters of my book? And we did that. But then it also combined with something else, which was the pandemic and the idea of working from home. So one of the things that happens during the pandemic is that people work from home, and I realised that meant that I could work from Greece, which is sort of a home. And then some other things aligned. A friend of my wife had a flat that she was renting at a reasonable rate, so we started renting that flat, and so I had somewhere to stay when I went to Greece. We did some dry runs. I practiced working from Greece. And so you say, well, why was working from Greece different from working from England? And one of the reasons is there's a 2-hour time difference. So that means that if you get up at 7 o'clock in the morning in Greece, which is the time I now get up pretty much all the time as a writer who writes every day, if you get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, you have 4 hours before the workday starts. And that's a huge bit of time. Lawrence Durrell, I think you might see this if you look at the TV series Durrell's, he says this. He found that he could write in Greece and he couldn't write he could write in Greece like he couldn't write in England, and maybe those were for entirely different reasons, but I found that as well. Maybe it's a language thing, that you're surrounded with people who don't speak your language and that helps, I don't know. Anyway, I think that was the kind of Scenius, and now I'm realising that this is an S word that I can write on a card. I think that's the Scenius that kind of like helped me. And of course this is not terrifically helpful for people saying you can write a book, saying, oh, you need to get lucky, you need to have a scene happen to you. But maybe there are things you can do to kind of arrange that scene. Maybe things you can do to realise that you need time. You need to put time away for it. You can't just become a writer by not doing any writing. That's quite important to understand. And so I'm going to confess to you now that when I woke up this morning, I felt slightly miserable, kind of disoriented which way is up. Never feel great after I've got up ridiculously early and not really slept properly. But now I've chatted to you, I feel a lot better. And also, having chatted to you, I've come up with another S to write on my cards, which is Scenius. And so I'm feeling very good now. And I don't know how long these things need to be, these kind of pieces to camera. I'm not very far from the coffee shop now, so I think I'm going to stop there.